Hey guys, Bobby Bollinger here, and instead of hot takes, we've got a different video today. See, I can't exactly do hot takes. There was a birthday party for one of my siblings at our grandma's house since it's nearby and has plenty of space outdoors. So we were back there for the whole day, and the only game I really watched was Raiders versus Redskins. Now, that game, I could do hot takes for it. I could tell you how the O line failed for the Raiders, but that's pretty much all I can say. So instead, we're going to be going over a slightly different topic, those national anthem protests and what I think of them. Now, first things first, in this week of the NFL, it wasn't really the national anthem that was being protested, it was Donald Trump. So, this time around, this week, I don't really mind it. I understand who they're going after and why, so I'm not seeing it as too much disrespectful this time. Times before, they can be disrespectful. Times after, there probably will be, but for this week, and this week only, you get a get out of jail free card. Now, what do I think of the national anthem protests in normal situations? Well, it kind of depends. Like, okay, for this, I'm not even going to dive into the issue that started the whole thing. I'm just going to go over the protest itself. It's a form of free speech, yeah, but at some point you have to balance that with not being an asshole. And that was actually really on display this week for the ways they protested. Some were good, and I liked those. Others, pretty bad. Really bad sometimes. So let's start with the kneeling, the obvious one. I find it a little bit on the disrespectful side. It's not the worst one. There's two that are worse than it, but I still don't find it a very good way of doing things. Like, the message you're trying to send is unity and that you're going to continue fighting, and kneeling's not the worst because it does show some of that. But at the end, your protest should have you standing at some point. Now, some people will say, well, should national anthem even be a part of our sporting events? And is it even really connected to the military? The answer to that is yes and yes. Because sporting events connect themselves to the national anthem. It's not the other way around. And they connect the national anthem to the military, and the sports venues do that on purpose. Because when they bring that flag onto the football field, who's carrying it? Usually soldiers. So the saying it's not connected to the sport, saying it's not connected to the military, it doesn't really apply here. So, kneeling, I don't necessarily like. I do think you should stand, and your protest has to include standing. Second worst form of protesting? Sitting down. That's just lazy, okay? Like, I understand it's a protest, but with kneeling I can see, hey, they're trying to do something. With sitting, it's just, I'm lazy. I couldn't think anything up. And I really don't like that one. Kneeling, it shows some form of wanting to do something. Sitting just doesn't show anything, really. So it doesn't work as a good form of protest here. But the worst, thankfully, only done by one guy, and that's LaShawn McCoy. Now, I do have respect for him because he's very obviously his own person. On the Colin Kaepernick issue, he's pretty much the only player who said, no, he doesn't need a job. Even though he really does support Colin Kaepernick's stance, quite clearly. His protest this week was to do stretches during the national anthem. That is really bad. Like, sitting was lazy and maybe a little bit contemptuous, but stretching is nothing but contempt. Not even, hey, I'm gonna try to do something about the problem I think there is. It's just contempt, and I do not like that at all. Another thing I don't like is how kneeling has become a media thing. And that was exemplified most with the Cowboys. They didn't kneel during the anthem, they all stood for the anthem. But before the anthem, every single player and Jerry Jones took a knee before the anthem. And that was so very obviously just, hey, we're going to do this for the media, and I don't like that. That just feels dishonest to me. Like, if you want to say something, say it. If you're going to do something, do it all the way. That's the way to do it right. There are forms, though, that I do like, and that I really like. Like, for instance, raising the fist in the air as it goes. You're standing, and the raised fist pretty clearly says, hey, I want to do something about the problem I think there is. It's not saying at all that I hate this anthem or I hate this country. It's just saying, hey, I want to do something. And quite honestly, I think it can actually be better than simply standing. Like, think about this. After 9/11, if a bunch of people raise their fists into the air, what do you think they're saying? They're saying, hey, we're going to keep on going. We're going to fight. So, raising your fists is something I can definitely like. The next one, though, is probably my favorite, especially for groups. For big groups, it's standing in a line and interlocking arms. That is perfect for what they're going for here. A clear sign of unity and a clear sign of doing something. And not at all disrespectful. It's simply my favorite, and I really don't mind it. I mean, it can be a team building thing too. Like, doing that without any context, without any actual issues, that's probably good for a team, honestly. So, that's what I think on this whole thing. Again, I'm not going to get into the issue. It's really complex, and my iPod doesn't have the battery to record that much video. But for now, that's what I think on the whole thing. As long as you're standing, your protest is probably okay, barring, this. But raising your fist, it's good. Interlocking arms, good. Sitting down, lazy. Kneeling, a little bit disrespectful. Stretching, you better not keep doing it. Bye.